Hey guys, this is Sean from HZad Education. Today we're going to do this video. We're going to talk about CELPIP writing. We're going to talk about brainstorming, how to use the right points, especially when you're attempting your task 1 for CELPIP writing, and how to give the examiner a good structure plus outline. Here's the thing. You can have really good grammar and vocabulary for CELPIP, and everything you write for an for someone who's studying English or assessing English will be perfect. And that's why a lot of native speakers, they go in the exam with full confidence. However, even then, if you're not making the CELPIP examiners happy, you will not get a 9. And for that, you need a lot of CELPIP specific things. You need the structure, you need the templates, and more. And if you haven't seen our videos on templates and structures, please do go in this channel and dig for them more, because that's where a lot of detail is present. But the one thing I'm going to talk about today is the task response. This is a very subjective thing, okay? So you might think that the way you're answering the question is enough and you have addressed all the points, but the examiner might think it's not. And they might say that, well, I don't feel like you have answered the question. Let me give you an example. Sometimes they ask you, you're moving to a different accommodation and you gotta talk about the moving date. Okay, so a lot of people say that in the letter they write down, our moving date is gonna be October 12th, 2021. And they think that's enough, right? Sensibly, that's enough. But for CELPIP or IELTS, it's not. They want detail, okay? So they want you to say, I'm going to move probably on October 12th, 2021. I say that with probably because my boss might change my work routine, which might prevent me moving on that day, in which case I would request to keep the 13th of October open as well. This is a complete paragraph, and this has so much detail that it will answer that question, that if the question is talk about the time or date when you want to move. Okay, so you need to give a lot of detail, and you need to give at least 2 points. Like in this question, the example I'm telling you guys, I was giving my moving date and the alternative date. And when I give the examiner 2 points, they will not complain anymore. They'll be like, okay, this is good enough. This answers the question. Also, you want to make sure, like when I teach people do 2 points, but you want to make sure you're actually answering that question in those 2 points and nothing else. Because what ends up happening is, someone would say, all right, 1 point, I want to move on October 12th, 2021. The next point is, this will be a dream come true when we move because my girlfriend and I always wanted to live in Florida. Now, this is not answering the question. Maybe, some examiners might say, well, that answers the question. It is talking about moving. But some examiners say that it's not about movement. It's about your girlfriend. So you really got to make sure you just specifically talk about that question. And that's why if you talk about dates more, if you talk about moving stuff more instead of your girlfriend, it's going to answer the question more. It's going to make the examiner more happy. But again, it's subjective. It varies from human to human. So today we're going to learn how to write 2 points per bullet point and how to make them address the question more. This is something you can do on a piece of paper in the CELPIP exam, or you can just type on the side and then erase it before you submit your writing, or you could do this in your head. I'm going to type it all here. This is my blog. I'm going to type it here, and I'm going to put this link in the description so you guys can visit it. My blog has a lot of things that I talk about on YouTube. It has them written down, and it has a lot more detailed things, especially vocab lessons are always on my blog written down. So please subscribe to my blog. You'll get a lot more useful resources there, as here you will get this whole written, so you don't have to just listen. But for now, let's start. Let's look at the first question. The first question is, you're looking for a part-time job at a football club. Write a letter to the manager of your football club. In your letter, introduce yourself. Explain what experience and skills you have, and tell him or her what you think, when you think you can start. So actually, this talks about when, right? So this is exactly the example I was giving you guys. Let's have a look. Introduce yourself. So we're applying for a part-time job, right? One thing is they like for you to, in interviews, because I train people on job interviews. In interviews, it's better to be personal. Don't just talk about work, but at the same time, your next point should be talking about something work related. So personally, this is 1 point, but it could have so many things. So this one sentence, when you do this in the body paragraph, it will talk about I am of this age and came from here, this country, and am in the field of whatever. Okay, so this point is 1 point for personal, who you are. And then the next point is going to be about work. So you're introducing yourself as, because you have to apply for a part-time job in this football club. So I have, okay, so I was thinking to say I have experience like 10 years in the football club, but I just saw the next bullet point is talking about experience. So I'm going to talk about something else here. I'll say I have passion for, and then passion for this work, passion for football, passion for sports, activities, something like that. And that's the sentence I'm going to make. Note that I'm not describing the exact sentence I'm going to write. I'm just giving pointers, right? So that's what we're trying to do in this video today. We're discussing pointers. We're discussing the outline, just brief ideas that you need to do in the first 2 to 3 minutes before you start writing. When you see this question, the first thing you do is what I'm doing here. And then once you have this little outline, then you start writing the rest of the paragraph and the rest of the task 1, actually. So I got my 2 points, work-related and personal. That's I'm gonna introduce myself. The next thing, what experience and skills? You can see the examiner has already given you 2 points. So 1 point I'm gonna talk about is my experience, and this is gonna be, you know, I have experience of 10 years, 20 years, etc. in this field, and so on. The other is going to be skill. Pretty straightforward. In the question, it helps me find that out, what my second point is supposed to be. This is important. Experience and skills is a very common bullet point, and people always mix them. So if you say, all right, let me give you an example. I have experience of 12 years being a coach of a football team, which was in Columbia University, and I was working there under the president of the university who always supported me. That whole thing didn't talk about skills. That just talked about experience. Skills are what you did as a coach, you know, so I was able to, and then I was able to take our team from the 10th place in the city to number 2 due to my ability to encourage them, due to my ability to give them theory as well as physical practice, etc. So skills is what you're able to do, and experience is, you know, 12 years, 13 years of experience. It's different. If the question ever talks about qualifications, that's also different. Qualifications, if you ever get that, it's going to be your degree, your certification, what have you achieved, like your awards. So all those keywords are different. You know, that's how examiners are judging you. This one we have already discussed. When you think you could start, you want to give a date and an alternative date. All right, that's the best way to tackle this question. So always I would say, all right, you know, I would love to start on this date, you know, next month. And then because this is a work situation, I can also say, however, considering my important role in the current company, if they request me to stay or give them a 3-week notice, maybe I'll be a week later. You know, initially I'm giving them a 2-week notice, but it could be a 3-week notice. So that's how I'm going to make my 2 sentences. Now, when I do this for each question, how can any examiner tell me that I didn't answer the question, right? So I'm giving the examiner 2 points per question, exactly answering the question. And doing it this way ensures your task response. It does a lot of other things, and I'll talk about that later at the end of this video. Let's continue. And you can see it's fast, right? Because you only have 2 to 3 minutes to do this in the exam. So let's have a look at the next question. You saw an advertisement for a tennis course in England, but you have 2 problems and can't stay the whole course. Write a letter and explain your interest in the course, describe your problems, find out if a refund is possible. Okay, so you wanted to do a course, you can't because there are some problems. So let's first think about the situation. What could our problems be? So you want to do it in England, but okay, let's say someone got sick in the family. Yeah, and we can make 2 points out of that. Okay, cool. So explain your interest in the course. One thing we can talk about is our feeling. So here you're going to talk about things like you have a passion for it, you have interest for it, because you have because it's just a feeling, it's just an emotion you share with the sport. That's going to be my first sentence when I do this body. My second sentence would be something like family has been doing this. So this one is going to be more like my family has been playing tennis all of their lives. My ancestors were in this, so naturally my genetics push me to do this. Okay, 2 points. Describe your problems. Okay, so I gotta cancel the course because someone is sick back home. All right, so I gotta go back home and take care of them. That's gonna be my first sentence. My next sentence is gonna be, there is no one to take care of them. So it's gonna be, this will be more describing how they lack manpower and they cannot afford a housekeeper, etc. 2 points there, and find out if a refund is possible. So of course one sentence obviously is a refund possible, and it's going to be a long sentence. Like, when you start writing it down, it's going to be finally with regards to my predicament, comma, it would be highly what do you call it? It would be highly consider. Oh, it would be okay. You're there's this word I'm thinking about. It would be like highly appreciated. Everybody can say that. So I'm not going to say highly. I'm going to say it will be awfully generous of you. Yeah, let's do that. It'll be awfully generous of you to issue me a refund for the full payment. So it's going to be a long sentence. But just for an outline, this is going to be a simple hint for me when I'm in the exam. Ask directly for a refund, and if not possible, partial refund. Again, it's very similar technique that we used here. This is the date I'm going to move, but if not, then this is going to be the alternative. So please give me a refund, and if you cannot, can you give me a partial refund? It's like, if not this, then can you do this? It's like, that's the easiest way to come up with 2 points. So the next sentence, it's going to be something like, if you can't do that, I know it's not policy, can you at least do 50%? Something like that. Okay, that's it. Those are our points there, and this is done. Let's go down. So you are due to move to a rented apartment next month, but you'll not be able to because you have some problems. Okay, so apparently this person always has problems before committing to anything. So you got to explain the situation. You're trying to move into an apartment and you cannot. So what could be a situation? Describe your problems. Tell him. Okay. This is tricky too. I'm glad we have this question because explain your situation is very similar to describing your problems. So in this case, I would like to do this first, the second one, because I want to make sure my problems are different than my situation. Situation could be very general, at least problems are specific. So let's talk about problems first. So my problem could be that I didn't get my paycheck to pay next month's rent. So, my company is having some issue. They didn't pay me yet, so I got to delay it until I get my paycheck. And it does say problem, so it should be another problem. You can make a secondary example from this case, like something is wrong with your company, but there should be two because it says S. So guys, be careful when it says problems, solutions. S means two. So let's make another problem. Let's say the movers. Okay, movers. Well, it doesn't make sense. If movers, I was going to say movers are really booked nowadays, so we can't hire anybody. But you don't even have your paycheck. How can you pay for movers? Let's not talk about that point. Maybe we can say, I have no one to help me. Okay, so this sentence is going to be more like, I don't have anyone to help me move next month, but my friends will come back from vacation the month after, so I can at least get some help when I move. Those are going to be my 2 points. Okay. Okay, so next one. All right. So these are the 2 problems. Let's talk about the situation. Situation is more of work. You know, that's where it's tricky because it cannot be the same like problems. So, all right. One situation is because this is going to be the very first paragraph in in the body that you're going to tell him where that you cannot move in. So the situation itself is, unfortunately, I cannot move in. Of course, we're going to say it in a much better way. You know, I can't move in because there's some unexpected dilemmas that just came up, which were not in my knowledge until yesterday, right? So this is going to be the first news, the icebreaker. This is already the first point. And then the next situation is the work. So you can say much of that has to deal with the work situation as the company is having financial struggles. Okay, so here I'm going to start to explain the company that I work with is having financial struggles, and that puts me in a difficult situation to arrange finances to pay you. And that's a really good segue into my next paragraph, which is going to be, I cannot pay you the rent for next month. And then followed by my next problem, I have no one to help me. And suggest him when you can move. So, okay, this is again a good segue because I said no one is there to help me, but they will be able to help me. So my friends can help me move next month. Okay, so this is when I can move. I can move next month. You give the date as well. It's always better to be specific. Don't give the examiner a chance to deduct your marks. If they say, oh, well, next month is very general, where's the date? So, okay, next month on this date. Okay, so that's your first point. Another point could be, again, you know, you can simply say alternative, like if you can't move here, then you can move on this date. But let me give you guys something new, some new content. Like instead of just that alternative, you could also say that, all right. So next month, okay, right now this video is being made in May. Next month is June. So what happens in June? Okay, so it's a better month, right? It's summers. Let's talk about that. So it's a good weather will be easier to move without the snow on that date. I want to make sure that I'm sticking to the point. I'm still talking about moving on the date, but I'm still elaborating on that. Like, okay, next month is June. Still talking about the day, the date, the month. It's June. It's good weather, less snow, and I think it'll be much more ideal for me to move on that 1st of June 2021, whatever date you have. So this way, guys, you are able to make 2 points per question. And as I said, the examiner will not complain that you don't have enough points. You have enough points now. It also gives you the technique. Here's why. Because you saw what happened here. When you describe the problems, it is so similar to explaining the situation, right? So when people usually write without thinking, they first answer, explain the situation. Then they come to this and they're like, what do I write? I already mentioned all my problems in the previous body. And this is why we make the outline, because we don't know how our thinking will be later on. So we plan all this out at the start. And later on, everything is going as planned. This is what every person does who scores a 10 or more. Okay, so if you want to follow someone who is really successful, follow my students who do this. They do this every time religiously, no matter how good they are. It's not a pain in the butt. Once you start doing it, it's going to take you 2 to 3 minutes max to do it, and you'll get better at this. So you need to practice brainstorming. It'll give you a good outline, good structure, good timing, and task response especially. It will answer that question. I hope this video helps you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment, subscribe, and like, share with your friends if you feel that I have added value in your learning for CELPIP. For more videos, keep tuned. We're going to post more this week, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope you really learned something from this video. Thank you guys. Take care.